I've been recognized on the state, local, and national level as a top educator. The reason why is because I build relationships with my kids. I understand where they come from. I get to know them on a personal basis, their families and things like that. What I learned is through positive relationships where they understand that, hey, I might be tough on you, but I'm doing it out of a place of love, not just because I'm yelling at you and things like that, but because I understand where you are and where we're trying to get you to. We tend to be more hands-on. We tend to be movie giddy, right? And in a traditional classroom, those are the kids who usually get in trouble because you won't sit down in your desk and take notes. So I allow my kids to be free with it, right? Because I need you to be constantly engaged in it, right? I understand that it's hard for me to sit down for 55, 60 minutes and just take notes and listen to you talk. You get monotone and I'm dozing off, So those are the things that I try to make sure that I address because I can come from a tradition of experience. I know what that feels like.
Are you one of the few Black male teachers in the building? Like, what does the presence of Black male teachers look like in your building?
BTW, Booker T. Washington High School here in Memphis, Tennessee, we are probably so unique because we do have several male African-American teachers. Our math department is made up of all male. Well, we have one female. So our administration did a great job of going out and like I teach the Algebra 1 class, the Algebra 2 teacher, and the geometry teacher, and the other pre-Cal teacher, and our middle school 8th grade teacher, all African-American males, right? We have our history teacher, he's African-American male. Our middle school English teacher, African-American male. Like, of course, we got some coaches who also teach and things like that too. But we also, not only do we just have coaches, but we have like teachers who just teach. Because most of the time when you see an African American male, he the basketball coach.
The basketball coach.
right. He just the study hall teacher. But we are all in the classroom, right? We all have classes like English, U.S. history, world history, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, geometry. So we are real subject-based teachers, as well as some of us also do coach, but we also, academics are our first thing. So that's a blessing for us because our administration did a really good job of trying to diversify us. Here in Memphis, Memphis is a predominant African-American city. The school in which I teach at, Booker T. Washington High School, is the first African-American school. It's actually the school where President Obama did the commencement address. I always like to shout that out.
As your teacher, Steve McKinney. Where's Steve at? AKA Big Mac. And I see why they call you Big Mac.
This school is traditionally rich in heritage. The first Black mayor of Memphis, Willie Harrington, graduated from here. Earth, Wind, and Fire, which is a legendary music group that started right here. Even Marion Barry, who was the first mayor of D.C., he graduated from here. So, that's one of the things we pride ourselves on is trying to, we're a community school. We're in the poorest zip code in the state and one of the poorest in the country. So we dealing with a lot of inner city issues.
Tell me, what is it like being a student in Mr. McKinney's classroom?
If you're a student in Mr. McKinney's classroom, you're going to be completely engaged in a lot of technology integration. I'm a technology-based teacher. I love to keep my kids engaged with the current events, but I also love to try to teach them through the use of just technology. I know this day and age, technology is what our kids love. So I try to integrate that into their their understanding. I use those tools to try to gather my kids. So a typical day in my classroom is you're going to be engaged. It's not going to be boring because I've been an African American student, so I know what it feels like to be that male teacher in the classroom where just sit and get. So we're going to be moving. We're going to be integrating some technology. We're going to be interactive. So that's what I feel like I do to my kids. I try to not only teach them the math, but I try to teach them also concept relations and just how to relate those techniques and those those skills that we're learning in the classroom to everything we use. I do a lot of pre-recorded lessons where the kids can pause and rewind, whether me standing there going through a problem. What I do is I do a 3-minute example, but I give my kids like 5 to 7 minutes to take the notes on it, rewind, and ask questions from that, so they can get their own personal understanding of it. Because I may have some kids in there who can get it right off the bat. I may have some kids who may need a little more time to take their notes, go back over their notes and understand it. But I want to give them that personal one-on-one relationship with it. My school is a 90% African-American inner city school. So I'm dealing with kids who look like me, from traditional backgrounds like I'm from, things like that. It gives you a positive role model. Even for the girls, a lot of times, a lot of girls are missing their fathers at home too. So, to see that male figure who's stern and strong on education, like, hey, this is important. That makes a huge difference in our community. I also think it makes a difference even our white kids, because now they see something different. They get a different perspective of it, so they get to understand the different backgrounds in this society. So I think it gives them something else to see as well.
As we've been having these conversations, we naturally say, like, it is important for students of color to see, or have educators of color as their teachers. But, I don't want that to be absent of, like, it's important for all students to have Black teachers. It's not just, if you're Black, you need a Black teacher. No, everyone benefits from having us as the leader, as the teacher inside of their classrooms. It's important.
Right, because I may be a little biased, but I honestly feel like a lot of times when you have a African American in a position of power, he has truly earned his spot, right? He has to be one of the best at it. And of course, some of us fall through the cracks or whatever, but at the same time, you have somebody who's been dedicated to their craft and they actually have not been given anything. So that they have to know their material. We have to earn it. We have to work hard for it. And through our actions, our body language and our perception on things, kids can learn from that. All of us was not given this opportunity. We had to earn it. And I think that a lot of African Americans in power positions had to earn their right. And they had to be innovative with it. And I think that the education system now has to show how diverse we are and how innovative we can be. We got so many strong Black leaders that are building their own schools and they're thinking outside the box. And I think that's what's the change when people start to realize, wait a minute, we cannot have a cookie cutter approach to education. We got so many diverse, even within our culture, there are so many different breeds. I'm from Mississippi. I don't think like what you was telling me, when you left from Little Rock to go to Detroit, that's a totally different mindset, right? Things are done differently. So we have to address the whole kid. We just can't be worried about how they getting the algebra when they're not addressing the whole kid.
How do you attend to the whole kid, or how do you address the whole child and still attend to math instruction at the same time? Like, how do you balance that, or what does that look like?
I feel like one of the reasons why I'm successful, I've been a level 5, what they call a level 5 is the highest level you have here in the state of Tennessee. I've been a level 5 algebra teacher since it started, right? I've been recognized on the state, local, and national level as a top educator. The reason why is because I build relationships with my kids. I understand where they come from. I get to know them on a personal basis, their families and things like that. What I learned is through positive relationships where they understand that, hey, I might be tough on you, but I'm doing it out of a place of love, not just because I'm yelling at you and things like that, but because I understand where you are and where we're trying to get you to. Kids recognize body language, they recognize all those things. They can see your character, right? So they're a good judge of character. So I think that sometimes we got to understand that what we're doing, are we doing it out of care, or are we doing it because we feel like it has to be done, right?
I do want to lean, especially because you are a male, and thank you for doing what you do. I want to talk about two things. What is the power of having a Black male as an educator? And then two, also, Black male educators only make up like 2% of the teaching population. So how do we attract and retain Black male educators, especially understanding, after you speak to like how important they are?
I'll be perfectly honest with you, because all teachers have to have 4-year degrees, major in education.
I know where you're going.
The salaries just don't match up, to be perfectly honest with you. With the education that we need, most people probably will choose to go into the private sector where you can make twice the money, right? So there's a sacrifice when it comes to the financial part of it. It is a challenge to have to educate, right? It requires a sense of responsibility. It requires a sense of passion. Here's the other thing that I think that will cause that 2%, right? Because Black males have always felt like they should, you have to be in command, right? Most Black male teachers are there to become principals, right? And here's my biggest issue with education. Most people see success as through promotions, right? Well, what promotions do you have in teaching? You either a teacher, you're an admin, right? So in order for me to grow, I need to get an admin license, become a vice principal, become a principal. Well, that becomes that one Black male teacher who's not only in the classroom anymore. Now he's in administration. Well, what if I really like being in the classroom, but I need some kind of promotions? What my school has done a great job for me right now is they've lightened my caseload, but because I do a lot of lead teacher stuff, so I do some drop-ins, I do some teacher mentorships and stuff like that, so I don't have as many classes, so to speak, right? But think about success, right? If you're in a corporation and you're in the corporate world, if I'm still that's like the entry level. You're a teacher at entry level position, right? So what's next in teaching? I'm a vice principal, right? So a lot of Black males, if you look at it, they move on to administration because I want to be in command of it, which ain't nothing wrong with it. Right. I think that my biggest thing is because I coach a lot of sports and I still like my coaching position, and I still like to be in the classroom.
Okay, so last question. If you had to, we always finish with this question. If you had to describe the power of a Black teacher, and maybe I'll ask you the power of a Black male teacher. If you had to describe the power of a power of a Black male teacher in 3 words, what 3 words would you use?
The 3 words I would use for innovative, life-changing, and you have to be, I'm trying to find a really good 3rd one. Because I think that a Black male teacher can be life-changing, right?
Yes.
And I think you got to be able to meet the kids wherever they come. So you got to be innovative with your approach. Yes. But most important, I think that you have to be respected.
Good word. Respected as a professional. I'm always thinking.
Right. I think that we have to be respected as the fact that we are unique.
Yes.
We can make a huge difference. Yes. And we are needed, right? I guess needed would also be one of those words, right? Right, because you're going to get a drop in today. So somebody going to come through your doors and check and see if you're doing something meaningful in your classroom. Hi, my name is Stephen McKinney. I am the Algebra 1 pre-calculus teacher at the Booker T. Washington High School in Memphis, Tennessee. I am the current head basketball, baseball, softball, track coach at Booker T. Washington. See us at BTW Memphis. I'm in my year 21 here. And thank you guys for a wonderful interview.